Today we are joined by a very special guest. She just performed at the Lovin Life Festival here in Uptown Charlotte, and she is just about a week out from performing at the Taste of Charlotte Festival. And coolest of all, she's actually from North Carolina. Her name is Julia Golden, and she is joining us today. Julia, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. How was the traffic getting out here? I heard it was about a 2-hour drive for you all down here.
Yes, not too bad. We definitely had worse as much of the traveling that we do for music, so not
really,
too bad.
Really cool. So tell everyone out there on our Charlotte program, where in this wonderful state are you from?
Absolutely. So I'm from Carthage, North Carolina. It's a little tiny town right outside of Pinehurst, the big golf town. So we're about 2.5 hours out of Charlotte, and right there in the thick of things in North Carolina.
Really cool. So as I said, you just performed at Lovin Life with Garrett Huffman, right?
Absolutely.
How did that go?
It was such a cool experience. Garrett actually was invited to perform with his band, and we've been doing a lot of stuff together recently. We released a song last year and a couple of other things. And so he was like, hey, do you want to come out and perform with me? And of course, I jumped on the opportunity. Performing with Garrett and his band is always such a privilege, and being able to do it for an audience of that size was just the coolest opportunity as an artist of our size.
Really cool. What does it feel like I know you start out just hoping and praying to be a musician and hoping to get on a stage one day, and then you're finally there, finally at the big event like Lovin Life.
It is a feeling like no other, honestly, just the feeling of your dreams coming true right before your eyes. I've been singing on stages as a musical theater performer since I was very young, but getting the opportunity to go up there and sing my original music and perform my words and mine and Garrett's words for so many people is just... It's a privilege that I'll never take for granted, and something that I'm so grateful that I got to experience, and hopefully will continue to as my career continues.
Really cool. So you and Garrett have had a partnership for a while. You have a pretty popular song on Spotify called A Story Like Ours.
Yes.
So this wasn't your first time getting together, and next week certainly won't be your first time getting together. What's the connection there with you two, and what brought you together?
Absolutely. It's kind of a funny story. So Garrett and I were both nominated against each other for a competition for the Carolina Country Music Awards, which is over both North and South Carolina. And we were nominated for the same category against each other for one of the competitions that they do throughout the year. And he found my music and my profile through that competition, and we ended up writing a song together, which was A Story Like Ours, on our first ever time meeting. And then we just decided this could go somewhere. And we cut the song, and we've been doing performances and writing music together ever since, and it's been such a blessing. And the partnership has allowed both of us to expand our careers, both geographically, since we're from opposite sides of the state, and also just in a musical standpoint. We write really good songs together, if we do say so ourselves, and we've been able to help each other grow as musicians a lot.
Awesome. I definitely got some Loretta Lynn and Conway Twitty vibes when I was listening to that song earlier.
I love it. I love
it. Really cool that you all are partnered together. And what's the preparation for you two like ahead of the Taste of Charlotte Festival on June 6th?
I'm actually leaving the studio and headed over to where we practice with the band. It's so fun being able to work with artists of our size, because honestly, just working together is like having a party with your friends. Like, we're just going over, gonna rehearse some of our favorite songs, make sure that we have everything perfect and ready to go, and then of course working on social media promotion and all of that fun stuff. There's a lot of things that go into the behind the scenes of all of these processes. Being able to kind of split the workload with Garrett and work together and be super creative about it is one of my favorite parts about doing the shows, besides of course the actual performance.
Cool. So once again, she will be at the Taste of Charlotte Festival performing from 11 to 2. Is that correct?
We're from 8 to 11
8
on
to
the
11.
main stage.
Cool.
Yes.
Is that PM?
PM, yes.
Wow, so you're headlining the whole thing. That is really cool. That's really awesome.
No pressure.
Yeah, so tell me about a little bit how you got into music and what kind of made you want to be a musician.
For sure. I've always been musically inclined. I've always just been one of those kind of creative left-brain people. I was in school always in the choir programs, the music programs. I played violin for a couple years in middle school. And so it was just never a question of anything else I was going to do. It was always going to be music or something in the creative arts. Like I mentioned before, I did musical theater for 13 years. And my junior year of high school, I started doing some gigs around town. I went to boarding school, kind of a long story. But I ended up deciding that musical theater was not the path for me at that time, as much as I still love it, and that songwriting allowed me so much more creative liberty, and I was able to kind of control the kind of art that I was creating and be a lot more honest and authentic with it. So I kind of transitioned to that, and I've been doing it for over a year now, which is crazy to say. And I've just always loved music, and being able to do it on a ever-expanding platform is such a blessing, and I'm so excited to see where the journey continues to go.
Awesome. So you bring up songwriting a lot. What is kind of your method, or what kind of things inspire you to write the songs you make?
I take songwriting inspiration from literally everywhere and everything. I've written songs about my favorite books, or songs inspired by my favorite books. I've written songs about people in my life, my family members, my friends, personal experiences that have happened to me. Sometimes I'll just make up a tale and I'll tell it through song. It kind of just depends, but I love being able to be creative in so many different kinds of ways, and have full creative control about the story that I want to tell and what I want to present to the world. So there's not really a rhyme or reason in the way that I do it. Sometimes I just sit down with my songbook and it flows. Sometimes it takes months to write a song, sometimes it takes hours, sometimes it takes minutes. It kind of just depends. But every single one comes out unique and comes out a very honest portrayal of whatever I was trying to say.
Cool. And you just had an EP come out a couple months ago, Everywhere I've Been. Tell me about the process behind recording that, writing for it, and what went into it.
That was a lot of fun. Everywhere I've Been, it's got 6 songs on it, and I wrote all of those songs between the ages of 16 and 18 years old. And what I love about them is they kind of show all of the different, parts of my artistry, the different kinds of songs that I write, the different, both stylistically, melody-wise, lyrically, all of those things. It shows kind of the whole range of what I like to do as a performer and as a songwriter. And it also shows the different phases of my life. 16 to 18 are arguably some of the most formative years of your life, especially your young adult life. And so it's really cool that I was able to kind of document that through song, and I'll be able to have that forever. But I wrote, like I said, those songs. Some of the songs, as I started to produce the EP, I wrote them after, like during the process. When you're such a new artist and you're writing a million songs all the time, sometimes a good one will come out of nowhere and you'll be like, all right, that's going on the project. So that happened a couple times throughout this, but we recorded it in Nashville with Jesse Savio at Savio Productions. He also runs a songwriting round called the Get Up, and I've worked with Jesse for over a year now. He produced every single song on the album, and he did such an incredible job with it. Garrett now works with him a little bit as well, and we're going to be working with him more in the future. He's just amazing, and I think he really brought this to life, and it was really cool being a new artist and being able to kind of really formulate what I want my sound and my style to feel like and sound like. And this whole project was just a really great creative process for me, and a lot of self-discovery as both a person and an artist through the process as well.
Awesome. And where was this recorded at?
In Nashville, or Mount Juliet, but Nashville, Tennessee.
Cool. So that's kind of something I see on every country artist, every artist of a lot of genres, is they love putting Nashville recording artists
Absolutely.
on their bio. What does it feel like to be able to do that and say that?
It's so cool, because I grew up hearing all of my favorite albums, country songs, even non-country songs, like you said, that were recorded in Nashville, that were written in Nashville, that started in Nashville. And so kind of being able to treat that as like a second home for me is such a blessing. I've been going back and forth to Nashville once a month for almost a year now, and I like to say I'm dually based in North Carolina and Nashville because I spend so much time there. It's a really cool privilege to be able to say that, and it makes me feel like I'm a part of some exclusive club that I always wanted to be in growing up. It's really, really cool.
Awesome. So you've spent a lot of time in Nashville. Obviously, you grew up in North Carolina. So tell our Charlotte, North Carolina audience, which of the 2 places do you prefer and why?
Oh, that's so hard to say. I think my Julia Golden performer side likes Nashville more. It's just a place where I'm surrounded by creativity and surrounded by the things that I love 100% of the time, which is the coolest thing ever. I always come back home from Nashville with 2 or 3 songs in the book that I'm so ready to get to the studio with, because it's just so much inspiration everywhere. You can take creative inspiration from anything, but I think the more personal side of myself loves home more. North Carolina will always have my heart. My little small town will always have my heart. And most of the inspiration that I write those songs about comes from the place where I grew up and the place that I call home, and where all my family are. So I love both for their own reasons, but I think North Carolina will always have my heart. I don't think anything will ever beat it.
Awesome. Well, we'd love to hear that. Do you think, so I just moved to North Carolina about 3 years ago now, so I was, when I moved here, and still to this day, I'm blown away by just the scenery and everything here. Do you think that adds to kind of the songwriting? Do you think that helps like set the mood for the kind of the stuff that you write about?
Absolutely. North Carolina is such a beautiful state. Not a lot of people even realize that. If you're from outside of the state, you'd think of Charlotte, like the big city, or Raleigh in the big city, where most of North Carolina is absolutely beautiful. I actually grew up in a super tiny town in North Carolina called Goldston, where my grandparents live, and they have a huge 60-acre property with a rock quarry that they built in the 80s, and that is literally that they purchased in the 80s, and that is one of my biggest inspirations as a songwriter. The place just brings so much peace and joy to me, and whenever you're surrounded by such beauty, it allows you to create art in a completely different way. And so while the hustle and the bustle of the big city in Nashville is such a great thing, the quiet, beautiful scenery that we have in North Carolina just offers so much more space to create art and to just fill it with all kinds of creativity.
Awesome. So we've mentioned North Carolina, we've mentioned Nashville, and obviously that's why your first concert, I read, was in Oregon. Tell me how that happened.
Yes. Oh my goodness. We did our research. So I performed for the first time when I was 11 years old. That was my first time performing as a songwriter and not as in a musical theater role. I hadn't even learned how to play guitar yet. I was playing my little ukulele that we had to mic up because I couldn't plug it in. And it was such a cool experience. My aunt actually runs a nonprofit organization called Kids Rock and Girls Rock out of Eugene, Oregon, which is right outside of University of Oregon campus for those that aren't familiar. And they provided me with my first guitar. The nonprofit organization focuses on bringing music education and basically just spreading music as far as they can to children that don't have as many opportunities or maybe not as much access to music. And they were the first people that put a guitar in my hands and basically gave me the confidence and the stage to be able to perform my own music and my own personal heart in that way. And so I have so much love for Oregon. That's where my dad spent a lot of his childhood, and a lot of my family still lives. And most of the musicians and creatives in my family live on that side of the world. So it's always really cool to go back there, and I wish that I could go back soon. But of course, busy schedule, and Oregon isn't exactly a short drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really, really cool getting my start there, and it's kind of cool to be able to get your start in a place where there's nothing but love there. You don't got to worry about impressing your friends from school. You don't got to worry about any of those things. You can just create, and it was the coolest experience ever, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Cool. And hopefully maybe you can go back on a tour,
I'd love it.
touring the country or something.
One day.
Speaking of which, what are your next steps in your career? Obviously you have this big show coming up next week, but any new music, any shows planned in the near future?
Absolutely. Well, I'm playing a show next Friday. Of course, next Friday is Taste of Charlotte, and I've got shows this Friday. I perform almost every single weekend. I have so much fun doing it. It's so cool to be able to say that I'm a country singer for a living at 18 years old. But I'm just chugging along. We're going back and forth to Nashville, of course, producing new music. Not too much that I can talk about yet. I've got a lot of cool things coming up this summer that I'm also not allowed to talk about yet, but I'm very excited to share. I do modeling and acting, so I'm getting into those things as well more this year. And just trying to keep working hard, pounding the pavement, do all the things that you got to do to be a country singer, and trying to grow myself as an artist and as a person in the process.
Awesome. And I guess just lastly, what are your goals for your music? What do you hope to? Who do you hope to become? What kind of a person do you hope to become?
Of course, the first thing that comes to mind whenever you ask any artist this is I want to be Taylor Swift selling out stadiums, or Coldplay playing the Super Bowl and things like that. And of course, all of those things are true, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of hard work to be Taylor Swift, all of which I'm willing to put in. But as of right now, I just want to be a better artist than I was yesterday, every single day. I want to get as many opportunities as I can through my original music and through my songwriting. And I just want to be authentic to my audience. I want them to be someone that not only they enjoy listening to, but someone that they enjoy relating to and that they can see themselves in. I'm just a regular girl. I graduated a regular small town high school. I write songs in my little small town in my bedroom with my cute little dog. And I just want to make a living off of my original music and share it with as many people as I possibly can.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all we had to ask from you today, unless there's anything else about your career, or yourself, or anyone you'd like to thank out there that made this all possible.
Honestly, the people that made this all possible was my parents. My dad's here with me in the studio today, and they've just been the biggest supporters. I've always said if I told them that I wanted to be an Olympic swimmer tomorrow, they'd be like, all right, let's go ahead, figure out a pool that you can go swim at. They've been supporting me in every single thing that I've ever done, any career path I've ever had, and it's full steam ahead. People always, they'll ask me, like, do you feel pressure from the music? And I've always said that it's not the music that they're supporting, it's me that they're supporting. And so shout out to my parents. They're the greatest in the world, and they're my why.
Awesome. Well, once again, this was Julia Golden with us here on WCNC Plus. We were absolutely a privilege to have her in here. Julia, thank you so much for coming down today.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.